Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I never thought a single sentence could change the direction of my life. But that morning, standing on the rooftop of a glass-covered office building, I realized how fragile everything really was. I worked as a junior project coordinator at a fast-growing tech firm. The kind of place where coffee was stronger than sleep and deadlines chased you even into your dreams. My boss, Claire, was known for being brilliant, demanding, and emotionally unreadable. She was the type who walked into a room and made everyone straighten their posture without saying a word. To me, she was intimidating, inspiring, and completely out of reach. That day had already gone wrong before it even started. A major client presentation had collapsed due to a technical failure. Investors were calling non-stop, and the board was demanding explanations. Claire had been calm through most of it, too calm, which somehow made it worse. By late afternoon, she asked me to follow her upstairs. Her voice was steady, but something about her eyes told me she was barely holding it together. We stepped onto the rooftop, the city stretching endlessly below us. Wind brushed against our faces, carrying the distant sounds of traffic and life moving on without caring about corporate disasters. She leaned against the railing, staring down, silent for a long moment. I didn't know what to say. I was just an employee, after all. But I also saw a woman who carried the weight of everyone's expectations alone. She finally spoke, almost to herself, saying how tired she was of always being strong, of never being allowed to fail. The words weren't dramatic, but they were heavy. I felt a knot form in my chest. I took a step closer, careful, unsure, and told her that failing didn't make her weak, that even leaders needed someone to lean on. She laughed softly, not mocking, just tired, and said people like her didn't get that luxury. That's when it happened. She climbed onto the ledge, not recklessly, but with a strange calm, as if testing the idea of letting go. My heart stopped. I didn't think, I just reacted. I reached out and said the words that would echo in my mind forever. I told my boss, "Jump, I'll catch you." She turned to look at me, really look at me, like she was seeing me for the first time. The wind lifted her hair, and for a second, everything else disappeared. The city, the job, the rules between us. She smiled, not a corporate smile, but a real one, fragile and surprised. Then she said, quietly, "Maybe falling for you is not bad." She stepped back onto the rooftop, safely, but nothing felt safe anymore, not in the old way. We stood there, close enough that I could feel her warmth, neither of us speaking. I knew the line had been crossed, not physically, but emotionally. And once that happens, there's no pretending it didn't. The days that followed were strange. At work, everything looked the same, but felt different. Meetings, emails, deadlines, all of it continued, yet there was an unspoken awareness between us. When our eyes met, there was a pause, a shared memory of that rooftop moment. I tried to convince myself it meant nothing, that it was just stress talking, but my heart didn't listen to logic. One evening, she asked me to stay late to help finalize a report. The office emptied out, lights dimmed, and the city outside turned into a sea of blinking lights. As we worked side by side, the silence felt heavy again, familiar. Finally, she closed her laptop and said my name in a way that wasn't professional at all. She thanked me, not for the report, but for being there that day. She admitted she had scared herself, that she didn't actually want to fall. She just wanted to know someone would care if she did. I told her the truth, that I cared more than I should, more than was safe. I expected her to pull away, to remind me of boundaries, of consequences. Instead, she exhaled slowly and said she felt the same fear, the same pull. She said she'd spent years building walls so high that even she couldn't see over them anymore. And that somehow, without trying, I'd made a crack in one. We didn't touch, not then, but the connection was undeniable. Over the next few weeks, we tried to keep things professional, but emotions don't follow office policies. Conversations grew longer, laughter softer, glances lingered. Eventually, we talked honestly about the risks, about careers, about what people would say. It wasn't a fairy tale decision. It was messy and complicated and terrifying. In the end, she made a choice that surprised everyone. She requested a transfer to a different branch, giving up some control to gain clarity. Before she left, we met on that same rooftop one last time, as boss and employee. She told me that sometimes, life doesn't ask you to be brave in big dramatic ways, but in quiet ones, like admitting you're afraid to fall and letting someone stand close anyway. Now, when I look back, I don't think about titles or power or fear. I think about that moment when I told her to jump and meant it with everything I had. I think about how love doesn't always arrive gently. Sometimes it scares you, tests you, pushes you to the edge just to see if you'll trust someone enough to stay. And that's the story of how one sentence, spoken without thinking, became the beginning of something real. If you've ever stood on the edge of something uncertain, wondering if it's worth the risk, maybe this is your sign. Sometimes, falling isn't the worst thing. Sometimes, it's how you find out who's really there to catch you.